Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got a fun track for you today. We're going to learn how to play Love Removal Machine by The Cult. So we are in standard tuning, nothing tricky here. Pretty simple song, got a cool solo in it too. I'm going to cover it all note for note for you. So before I do that, please follow the channel if you haven't already and ring that little notification bell so you know when I release a new video. And I want to say a special thank you to everybody who has become a member of this channel and supports it with a small monthly donation. You can do that just by clicking the join button underneath the video or wherever it's at. And that'll really help me keep cranking these lessons out. And if you really like what I do here, please check out my Guitar Academy. It's at GuitarLessons365.com. It's all my guitar courses, improvisation, ear training, guitar tone, technique, you name it, it's there. So please come in and check that out. All right, let's get to it. So we're going to start here with just this, this intro, which is really just the main riff of the track. All right, so that's some simple chords to kind of it's really just kind of a figure just builds off of major chords and then suspended chords. And then just kind of a tricky rhythm at one part is a quick little burst that he throws in there. So let's start with this. It's going to start with a D major chord here. So that's the 5th fret there on the A string, and then you're barring the 7th fret across the D, G, and the B. So we have this, you hit that once, and then you put down the 8th fret there on the B string, and that makes it a D sus4 chord. So we have this, hit once as a D major chord, then twice as the D sus4. Then back to the D, then back to the sus4, back to the D, back to the sus4. So wait, so that's just kind of the melody. Just kind of follow that melody on the B string. And then when he goes down, it kind of does the same chord here, right, off the C instead of up the D, it's at the 3rd fret. But going to, there's a quick little da-da-down, down, up, down on the C before he adds that sus4. So we get this. Hear that? So we get that little kind of Pete Townsend burst in there. So after you do that, it goes to just a G. Now this G is, at this point in the song, is just a G power chord. So you're going to do that by the 3rd fret on the high E string, 3rd fret on the B string, open G, open D, and then the 3rd fret on the low E. And you're going to use that finger to mute the A string. So it's just a big G power chord. So we have this. You hit that G 3 times and start over. All right, so after that we get to the verse, and the verse is just kind of a stripped down version of it. It goes. So you're just doing those first initial hits on each chord, and then you don't do that. You don't do that during the first half of the verse. We have this. So pretty simple, and then halfway through the verse it starts picking up a little bit. The bass starts kind of doing that bass line, just really pushing it, that little 8th note rhythm, and that's when you go back to the main riff, the full riff. All right, so that's pretty much the intro and the verse, which are pretty similar, same chords. Now we have the chorus of the song, and the chorus, he'll slightly play different throughout the song. So I'll let you know exactly what I mean when we get there. But the chorus sounds like this. All right, so that thing kind of repeated. And it happens for different lengths depending on what part of the song you're at. But we're going to start with this low E string, 3rd fret, a few times. Hit that a couple times. Then we're gonna play 3-0 on the A, then 4-0. That's what it is. And then that kind of leads us into the. So that's based off of a D power chord. So that's an open D, the 2nd fret on the G, 3rd fret on the B. And then you're gonna grab, so I like to play this with my 1st and 3rd and then use my middle finger to grab the 3rd fret on the A string and kind of shake it a lot. So then back to that D. Now, a good thing that you can do here is when you play the chord the first time, the D chord, you do it with your 1st and 3rd, so you can grab that note, and then when you come back to the D, grab it with your 1st and 2nd. Then you're hitting he's kind of keeping the momentum going. So I'm kind of still I hit the chord, then I'm hitting that open D string a few times. Now the reason I grab the chord now like this is because now I can grab this 4th fret there on the D string, and it's kind of a bend and release there. So far we had this. Then you go to this. You're gonna play. You are gonna hear the D in there as well. So this is the 3rd fret on the A string, open D, open G, and then the 3rd fret on the B and the high E. And here we go to, you keep these top 2 fingers the same, we go to a full G major, not a G power chord. You want to hear that B in there now, that 2nd fret of the A string. Now here's where, when it's starting over, when we first began the chorus, we had that little, that is the part that he does a little variation on throughout the song. He usually plays it like that. But say in the first chorus, when he's coming back around to start the riff over again, he's gonna do that little lead up riff. He does it. He plays the G chord and then he lifts up that finger and he hits the open A string a few times. Then the same riff. So instead of on the G note, it's on the open A string. So depending on where he's at in the song, he'll do that. But you're going to hear him do it in the first chorus, the first time around. But most of the time, or the A string. So really whatever you like the sound of, because he uses both, all right? So that is the, that's it for the chorus, and then it goes back into the main riff of the, and then there's this little fill there where I'll show you. So I'm not going to show you all this because he's just kind of doing little random fills throughout, and they are up here. Let me just show you this one first. We have the 3rd fret on the B and the high E together, and then a bend at the 5th fret on the G string. So you're going to do that like 3 times. And the 3rd time, release that bend, and you're going to grab the 3rd fret there on the A string and just slowly bend it up. And that's when the vocals start coming back in for the 2nd verse. Now, throughout that verse, like I said, there are some little fills. They're all pretty much done here at the 10th fret. You're gonna hear stuff like that. I'm not gonna go into detail about what he's doing here because it's kind of random. But I mean, it's not really essential to the song. But 12th fret on the G and the B, and then 10th on the G and the B, and then over to 12 on the D. So he's kind of messing around that D minor pentatonic shape. That's what it. So if you really want to do this fill, just kind of mess around up there because that's all he's doing. All right, so let's go skip now to the, we go back through the song, the same sections of the song, nothing changes, and then we get to, after the next chorus, we have the solo. So let me play through the solo for you real quick, and then we'll check it out note for note. So here we go. Back to the chorus there. So we're just going to be going into a bend here at the 12th fret to start. This slow bend as you keep picking it, and then bend it, release the bend, pull off to 10, and then back to the bend at the 12. So as you hold that, now you're going to grab the 13th fret on the B string. And obviously if you have a floating bridge like this, it can kind of take it out of it. And then you release that bend at the 12, pull off to 10, over to 13th fret on the B, and back to that 10 on the G. So with this. All right, next phrase. All right, so that is, it's basically what he's doing here is it's a basic blues lick. You're gonna be bending at the 12th fret on the G. And then you're gonna grab the 10th fret on the high E and the B together. So you're gonna, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pull off 13 to 10. So that's a lick, and then you just repeat that. So this, whatever fingers feel comfortable to you to play that. Then it goes into a bend at the 13th fret on the high E string, but what happens on the recording, you hear that, and he's catching the B string with it as he does that bend. So if you got fat fingers, you can maybe pull that off. So that's kind of the 13th fret high E bend at least. You want to do that, but if you can get them both in there. So after that bend at the 13th, we have this. So that's 10, 13 on the B string. So after that bend, then 10, 12 on the G, and then 10, 12 on the D. So it is. And when you get now, after you do that 10, 12 on the D, then you jump out over to the 8th fret on the A string, slow, slight bend, and resolve it down to the 10th fret there on the low E. All right, so the next phrase. All right, so we're at the 10th fret there on the low E string now. So from there, we're gonna go 8 on the A, back to the 10 on the low E, back to the 8 on the A. Then slide 10 to 12 on the A, and then 10 on the D. Then play 10, 12 on the D, over to 10 on the G. From there, we have a little run. So that run is 10, 12 on the G, and then 10, 12, 13 on the B, and then 10, 12, 13 on the high. And when you on the same thing on the high E, and then you do that bend on the top note. So we have this. Then we have this kind of something like that to kind of go to the next section of the solo, which is, so you can just do pull off 13 to 10 there on the high E, over to 13 on the B, and then back to that 10 on the high E. So we have this. Then you basically do the same lick starting on this string, on the B string, just across the D minor pentatonic. So that's pulling off 13, 12 there, 12 on the G, back to 10, and end it with the bend at the 13th fret. So this. So all together. All right, so that last kind of that's a look. It's gonna have a hard time remembering that for right now. I don't know why. Anyway, next section. So. All right, so 3rd fret there, and when he's playing this stuff, you'll hear some pinch harmonics. Just kind of really digging into the notes. So that's 3 on the G, and then 5, 3 on the D, and then 5, 3 on the G, 5, 3 on the D. So it's from there, we have back to the 5 on the D, over to 3 on the G, over to 5 on the A string. So this. A little bit slower. Then back to that 3 on the G, and then over to 5 on the D this time. So all together. Then we jump into a bend at the 5th fret on the G string. You kind of pick it a few times, and he's gonna grab that B string 6th fret there, and then just do a regular bend and release, pull off to 3, and back to 5. And then we kind of end it with some more, a lot of the last phrase in the solo. We're kind of a fast blues lick. All right, so that's that kind of a pretty stock blues lick. 12th fret on the G string. You're gonna bend that up. 10th fret on the high E, and then pull off 13, 10 on the B. So that little lick just repeated. And then that ending, kind of a quick little bend at the 13th fret on the high E string. And I'm doing a kind of a quick hammer to 10 to 13, pull back off to 10, over to 13 on the B. And then do the same thing here. So I'm doing a hammer 10, 13, pull back off to 10 on the B string, then play 12, 10 there, and then start bending up that 12. So When he gets to that, now there is an outro solo. It's kind of a little bit buried underneath the vocals as you go. It's underneath the outro chorus. So there is it's once again it's kind of based around the 12th fret. You know, you just do a lot of based around the 10th fret, the D minor shape that we talked about earlier. So you kind of mess around with that. At the very end, though, you can hear some unison bends in there. And what's going on there is 10th fret on the B and then the 12th fret on the G together. You're going to pick those while bending that note on the 12th fret there on the G up so they match. And then do the same kind of thing here. Hold the 10th fret on the high E string and then the 13 on the B. And then bend that 13 up. All right, so that is about it. You know, I think just that outro solo is best. Just kind of hang out and just jam in D minor, and then do those bends at the very end, and it's pretty close to it. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a fun track to play as soon as you get it together. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.